You guys out there remember Get Alive? Did y'all watch it? Were y'all fans? Y'all catch it on reruns? Because USA used to run them without the REM Stan song. It was kind of odd to watch that, but still, I was happy they were showing it.
Yeah, the actual co-creators saw that they were rerunning them and told them to cut it out.
Yeah. Is that what happened?
Yeah, the co-creator, what was his name? Mike something. He said, take them off.
Yeah, I remember that. We were living in Oklahoma at the time. Whenever they were showing that on USA.
Is that why we have a couple of tapes with the USA border and the...
We have some of that, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of video cassettes, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, I remember clearly when this show debuted because my dad, your grandpa, he was always reading the TV Guide, and he predicted Alf would be a huge flop after reading the description. He was totally wrong. But this show, he knew it was Chris Elliott from David Letterman, which we liked David Letterman.
Yeah.
But when he was reading the description at first, I didn't have any interest in watching it. And it showed after a Cowboys game, after a football game on Sundays when it debuted. And it was Hell Loop 2000.
Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday because I remember after the show was over, calling my friends and asking if they saw it. But after that, everybody started watching it. And it's a great show. I really love it. And when Niecy was born, and of course her sisters, I introduced it to them too. And it's kind of one of those, when I say it's a family show, I mean not in the sense of like Leave It to Beaver, a family show. It's our family, our pod here. We love that show and we reference it all the time. And
yeah, our cousins love the show. My friends that I showed the show really like the show a lot too. And even showed their friends. Yeah. It's a really good show, and it was actually 2000 when they started rerunning it on USA, and that's when we started watching it even more, watching more episodes, because before there was really nothing that you had to offer us. It wasn't on DVD. DVDs didn't exist really as much as... I mean, DVDs
especially specialty things like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But if you remember, I had some videotapes from back then.
Yeah, the very, very...
that I recorded, and they had... some of the TV ads and commercials. Tell them what that...
The end of... I used to remember what episode it was specifically. I wish I did now. But at the end of one tape, Ted Bundy...
No, it wasn't Ted Bundy.
No,
it was...
who was it? The guy with
the Milwaukee guy. Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer. I'll never forget clearly the announcer saying that the guy was putting chemicals in these people's heads and make them turn into zombies. And as a little kid, I really wasn't sure if it was part of the show or not because it was so horrifying. I was like, this has got to be part of this. Has got to be a joke.
Yeah, it was all part of. It was just a news clip. That's
very
right when they caught Jeffrey Dahmer and they were finding everything out. But that was on that video cassette too.
That had to have been one of the first seasons then, because 1990 is when the trial was really going.
Yeah.
And because he was caught in 89?
Something like that, yeah.
So that's probably why it was perfectly timed to terrify me.
It was funny because I didn't record a lot of shows, but it's like I knew this show's not going to last long. And I love it. And it's like there was YouTube back then where now you could actually catch some of these episodes on YouTube. The quality's not DVD-like, but it's still better than nothing.
And what's funny about the DVDs when they finally were able to release them, because there was a lot of back and forth about even releasing the DVDs because of the music on there. And so they were trying to figure out if they were going to be able to keep the songs in the actual episodes. Yeah. But they finally got a deal together and were able to keep most of the songs and put most of the episodes on the DVDs. But I think a couple are missing from the DVDs.
Well, we found those DVDs that were like certain episodes were on them, but then they did actually release
all of
the
them?
entire ones. Remember, this was 20... I want to say 15.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. When we had that all-nighter... When you came over, all your sisters came over, and I ordered all that pizza, and we had the great all-nighter. We watched pretty much all of them.
Yeah, and you know what? All the episodes are good.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes there's some episodes where it's like, oh, this is just a filler episode?
Yeah.
At first I thought the episode where he's a, what is it called when you're like looking at restaurants making sure that...
Oh, yeah, he's a health inspector. Yeah.
I thought that was a filler episode, and then it just grew on me.
Yeah, it's hilarious. He gets so corrupt so quick.
Over $5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
What's great about the show is that I remember when I was younger, I used to say it was ahead of its time, but it was for that time.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't work now, and it barely worked then. It was just a very sliver of time that it would have.
Well, Chris died
10
on
times.
so many episodes.
He died 10 times.
And there was never any mention of it on the next episode. That was a great thing about it. It's a kind of show you could jump in and watch every episode.
Yeah.
Now, there was some that had, like, if you were a big fan, you remember when he went back in time?
Yeah.
And he saw where Gus peed on his captain and all that. That was great. That.
Yeah, there's really good, interesting stories, too, because even though it's a silly comedy, he really is, like, wanting to do more with his life. He's just a paper boy. He's 30 years old, living with his parents. Season 2, he moves in with Gus, right?
Yeah. Because his dad got sick of doing the show. His real life dad plays Bob Elliott. Chris's real life dad plays his dad on the show too.
And I read that Chris Elliott really had to convince his dad to be on the show.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be on the show at all. And one of the ways he got him to do it was telling him that he wouldn't have to do any costume changes and that he could be in his robe the whole time on the set. And he was and both his parents were in a robe the whole time.
I always thought that was so funny too, but now when I visit my parents, your grandparents, that's what I see now. They're in a robe at 2 in the afternoon, drinking coffee, watching their programs.
Wearing slippers. Their house shoes.
Yeah, do you remember the episode, you know how they all have I think this was House Guest 2000?
Yeah, there's a lot of them like that.
But it's haunted. The house becomes haunted or something.
I don't remember that episode.
That episode, as a teenager, it actually kind of scared me. I remember watching that thinking, how am I getting creeped out at a Get a Life episode? And I watched all the horror movies all the time and all that. And I was like, why is this getting to me? And I remember even thinking about it later that night. Like, oh, shit,
You know what? That's what was so good about those kind of episodes, those Halloween episodes back then. Because even SpongeBob, they did a Halloween episode and it was actually really scary. It was like they really wanted to make an effort. Yeah,
it was a good episode. That first season.
First season's really good.
Really
Zoo Animals on Wheels.
Yeah, Zoo Animals on Wheels. There's so many. Guys, make sure y'all leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite episode was. You know what? My favorite episode has to be, I'm going to say Neptune 2000. I love that episode, but gosh, it's so hard to really pick because there's that one with Martin Mull.
Yeah.
Where he's the house guest.
Yeah, that is such a good episode.
That's one of those episodes we quote a lot.
Yeah. It's hard to pick a favorite episode. I really want to say Zoo Animals on Wheels, but Prettiest Week of My Life, where he becomes a male model. Another quotable episode. Yeah. Really love that show. I
mean, you just used one of the quotes this morning. We were out, guys, and we got some really good videos coming out, and hopefully we'll get them out quick. But parking's always a concern. You're always concerned when you're out at these places because they get tow happy. You go inside to film something, your car's going when you come out. Dallas, Fort Worth, especially when you get towards the Dallas area, it's rough as far as that goes. Arlington's a great town, but boy, they will tow you. Go ahead and the line Gus tells Chris at the Handsome Boy Modeling School.
He's getting told by the director, where to park and stuff, and he tells him, don't park there at the store. They'll tow you. They're bastards.
Yeah, they love that word, bastard, on
in that show. Yeah,
God,
I say that word a lot because of that show.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? A really good. You know what's funny is they go very deep with some of these episodes.
Yeah.
It's really strange. Like, what is that? To Sir with Love episode.
Oh yeah.
Such an odd choice for
to parody a movie that's so old and not that's a good movie by the way, but really it's good movie. It's not thought about. Nobody talks about it.
It's so old. It's still. I think it's black and white.
No, it's color, it's that early color.
It's very old, and
we suggest to watch To Sir with Love.
A good episode. It's so funny that they do that.
Guys, go on YouTube, order the DVDs, do whatever, watch it. Watch
it's
it.
Worth watching.
You will not be sorry. Chris Elliott is someone that I would really like to meet.
Oh, yeah.
There was a time when I had his book, Daddy's Boy. And it's so funny because he writes it in a way, he talks about his childhood, and his dad is doing the rebuttal on like every chapter. And Chris comes up with the craziest things. That just did not happen at all. It's so funny.
Chris
But I used to carry that around thinking maybe I'll run into him.
Yeah. I hope we could. I mean, I'm sure he goes to different Comic-Cons. And
I've never seen him at one. And
I haven't either.
And I've looked around, and that's someone. I would love to meet him more than like a big star like Brad Pitt or something. I don't care about any of that. I care
less about Brad Pitt.
Chris Elliott is someone I'd really like to meet.
I would love to meet. And Abby Elliott, his daughter,
she was
when she was on SNL.
And she was funny too.
And she was fun. They didn't give her a chance, but that's the thing. They just don't give
That was a
chance.
weird time. Yeah. There was several people they didn't give a chance.
That were really funny.
Now I don't even watch the show anymore.
Yeah, it's just, I don't even give the show a chance now.
Yeah. Now I become an old guy who's like, Saturday Night Live is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Chris Elliott was on Saturday Night Live for that one season.
Got fired.
And he was hilarious.
Yeah, and on the David Letterman show.
Yeah, he was. He won an Emmy for a writer. Is it Emmy?
Wow.
Is it Emmy?
Yeah, it's Emmy.
Okay.
And
his
dad
I thought that was a
something
music.
else with him too. Remember Cabin Boy?
Yeah, Cabin Boy.
Played his dad in
Great
Cabin
movie.
Boy.
Yeah.
And even as a little kid, it just seemed so like they're not kids movies. Cabin Boy, Get a Life, not a kid's show, but it really draws you in. And the fact that his real dad is in the show, it makes it feel more like a family affair, and it's just a lot funner to watch. Yeah. That Cabin Boy movie also really good.
Yeah, watch that. You'll love it.
David Letterman, I think, produced that one.
No, I think it was Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
Yeah. David Letterman did him a favor and came out.
He was a cameo in it. Really funny. And I quote that a lot. I call...
You're one of those fancy lads, aren't you? Yeah. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Long live Chris Elliott.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You got anything else you want to add? Because we could go on and on. We don't want to keep y'all too long because this is really something that we could talk about.
Yeah. I'll say top 5 episodes. I'll say top 5. And this is not in any order that one is better than the other. I'd say Neptune 2000.
Yeah.
Spewy and Me. Zoo Animals on Wheels. Of course, the first one I really liked.
Hell Loop 2000.
Hell Loop 2000.
And the other one you mentioned earlier, the Prettiest Week of My Life.
Yeah, Prettiest. Yeah. Those are the top 5, I'd say. Are definitely worth watching and looking for. You can find them on YouTube, but the DVDs are worth ordering because there's always features on those. Yeah. And
they wanted to shoot this show without laugh track, which was unheard of back then. And you can get that on the DVD. It shows those episodes, and it's really funny to see that show without a laugh track. Yeah. So what they did, if you watch the show, the laugh tracks on there are way over exaggerated. Yeah, because they were like, okay, you're not going to let us do this. We're going to go the other way with it. And they did it. They did it their way. And Better Call Saul connection, right?
Oh, yeah. We forgot to mention that.
Bob Odenkirk was a writer.
For 12 of the episodes.
12 episodes, yeah.
And you can really, when I saw that, you can see what episodes they are just without even looking because he has that certain tone about him. Oh,
you know what? Have you seen this episode yet on Better Call Saul? It's in the first season, I believe. This is a reference to Zoo Animals on Wheels.
Really?
When he's getting ready in the mirror every day, and he's like, "It's showtime, folks."
You're right. Yeah. He does do
just
that.
Like
that
Chris.
is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up and see if he did Zoo Animals on Wheels. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think he did, but he was part of that.
He really
crew,
is a original guy himself.
Yeah. So we'll probably talk about him too.
Yeah. You know what? Next time we'll probably go into a little bit about him and what's his name? Tobias from Arrested Development.
Oh yeah.
We need to look into them a little bit because they've always been a family favorite too.
Yeah, that's been a fun time.
Yeah, but this was Get a Life and
Chris Elliott, the great Chris
he really
Elliott.
is great. And comment below if you've watched any of his other stuff. If there's maybe a movie we haven't seen,
or a book you've read because he's put out several books.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's it.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for stopping by, and don't forget to check out our next Seers video.
Thanks for listening to us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.